things that we see over and over again is the fact that things change so fast. This notion of a VUCA world, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And I guess my first question is, how has that changed the way our consumers, our customers, our B2B customers buy from us?
Yeah. So I've seen a complete change in the way buyers buy. So in the olden days, we know that when B2B buyers had a problem, they would just call their sales reps.
Yep.
Right?
We love the phone, right?
They love the phone. You know, they had limited touch points, and so they would, you know, find the biggest brands, and they would call the salespeople, and the salespeople did all the complex work. You know, they had to, you know, they were fully trained in how to uncover the customer's problems and move them down that path, uncover their needs, find their pain points, address them with the solutions, and then close the deals. I've seen in B2B that drastically change. So over the last, I would say, evolving over the last 5 years, you know, instead of going to a salesperson, they're self-nurturing on the web. And I think there's a famous B2B metric which everyone talks about now, which is that metric from the CEB, which said that a typical B2B buyer is 57% of the way down the journey before even engaging.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Before even talking to a salesperson. So old world, 0% way down the journey, they call the salesperson does all this work. New world, you know, they self-nurture, right, with all these touch points, whether it's the bloggers, the influencers, a brand's website, etc. And they self-nurture, and the salesperson's job and the marketer's job fundamentally changes.
Yep.
Where the salesperson is really taking that from 60 to 100, so doing that last bit, and the marketer is kind of now the, you know, I'm not only the chief marketing officer, I'm like the chief 50% sales officer,
yeah.
Right, or 60% sales officer, and what I focus a lot on and stress a lot on is when that customer is self-nurturing, how do I make sure that they are self-nurturing with my content and my perspectives and my thought leadership, whether through my own properties or through influencers who they talk to.
Let's press on that. I love it. It was fantastic, and I think you told a really good story around how things have changed and how empowered the buyer is.
Yep.
Right? But let's talk about the notion of nurturing them and getting them to think in terms of how you think, really.
Yep.
Setting them up to solve a problem the way that you think to solve a problem, so as they move down that journey,
Yep.
they buy.
Yep.
Right? How do you do that? What are the keys to success in, you know, building that trust, delivering reciprocity, and making sure that they become a customer of Dun & Bradstreet?
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, Dun & Bradstreet is a data company, right? And that's what we've been doing for the last 173 years. But, you know, what you talk about is no longer about the data, right? It's what you talk about is how do you build these relationships with the customer. And so the way you do it is really, you know, using data to understand where the customer is in their journey and who they are, like what persona they are, and then making sure to build content along that buyer journey and against that persona, and making sure that it's always on, right? Because that's the only way you'll get them to stay with you, and that's the only way you'll really massively scale your customer acquisition.